Someone is going to propose this evening and he contacted us to make a perfect cake for the occasion. He has no clue she's about to be proposed to. I have to get this right, and I hope she says yes. When icing a cake like this, the best thing is to use a love shape board, but I couldn't find a love shape board, so I'm using the regular round board. Now, as you can see, this kind of purged apart from the sides. This is a 10-inch board and this is a 7-inch cake. On the normal, if this is a round cake, it's supposed to fit perfectly on this board, and then we'll have like a 3-inch difference so that we can have areas to pipe. And if I had taken proper notice, I would have gone for the 12-inch board or 11-inch board instead of this 10-inch board, so I can have some extra on the side. So with that done, I trim off the top of the cake like this to make sure that it is properly layered and I don't have one side being slanted. The buttercream. Add the buttercream and spread it very well. Now, some places like a lot of buttercream, a lot of cake fillings in their cake. Here in Nigeria, we don't do a lot of fillings because most clients feel like it's too sweet, so we just stick with the basics. Except the client asks us to do something extra, we don't just go ahead and add a filling except it's requested for. So I'm just going to put this like this, and then I'm going to go in with the second layer of the cake, making sure that it is properly placed. To make sure the whole size is equal, I'm going to just lightly trim the cake. This is just a light trim. Because it's a buttercream cake, light trimming will just do the job. Okay, so when I trim and get to this point, I'm going to stop because I want to preserve the love shape on the cake. And I'm still going to just give it some more depth so that the heart shape will just shape better. Trimming a love shape cake can be very tricky. It's not as smooth as trimming a round cake. So when doing this, my secret is just to walk from one side of the heart. When I get to the point to this side, I stop. So I walk at one side at a time. When I want to walk on this side, I just start off like this, so that the shape is not destroyed in the process of the trimming. Okay. So the next thing is to crumb coat the cake. This is a very important part. Sometimes you make cakes and you have crumbs all over the finished design. This is where it all starts. If you don't crumb coat your cake very well, you're going to have a messy design at the end. So you're going to have crumbs all over the finished work, and that doesn't look good and it's not professional at all. So what to do is to make sure that you lock in all the crumbs. That's the essence of crumb coating. And also, that's the first layer of buttercream. Since I don't want this cake to have dye directly on the cake, I am crumb coating it with a plain white buttercream before adding the actual color of the cake, which is red. So it kind of looks peachy right now, but I know that if I let it set for a while, It's going to give me the deep red that I wanted this cake to have. I didn't want to just do the color immediately and let it be super red immediately, because too much of color in buttercreams can make the buttercream can make it bitter, and that is going to really give you a bad job. So I make the color a bit lighter at first, and as it spends more time on the counter, it gets darker, giving me the exact color that I want. That's for deep colors though. If it's pink, pinks are easy to achieve. So as you can see, one of the most important tools to use when frosting a cake is your palette knife. This palette knife, once you know how to handle a palette knife, you can actually do wonders with cakes. So palette knives are very, very important when it comes to handling cakes like this. It didn't really go around the cake, but I'm going to try, because the crumb coat is a light crumb coat. I'm going to try to use the one that I have on the body of the cake to lock in all the crumbs, so that I don't have to make another fresh or batch of white buttercream. I think it's working. So using a smoother, the same move I made while trimming the cake, the same thing I'm going to do when using a smoother like this. So I start off from here, and I'm going to move, then stop here, and then get to this place. See, I stop again, then I take another move, round, stop here, then curve. So this is what I'm going to do until the whole cake is properly coated. So this is what it is. What we're going to do is light sharp edge in the crumb coat. Start by dumping buttercream on top of the cake. Enough buttercream on top of the cake. And then using the palette knife, I'm going to spread this on top so it gets to the edges. Now what this does is that when it spreads to the edges, it prevents that problem you get when you are trying to apply buttercream to the edge of the cake, and then it keeps pulling out the cake alongside with so much crumbs. So this is what this prevents. I really enjoyed doing recently. It's not the job that I'm doing with joy and happiness right now, despite the stress I'm passing through because I'm saying my postpartum, is that it's almost like in a month time, less than a month time, it will be the exact date when I did my traditional marriage. I had my traditional marriage July last year. Sorry, in June last year was my traditional marriage, and in July I had my wedding. So having this guy contact me right now to make him an engagement cake kind of gives me joy, because somebody else is towing the same line. Somebody else is about to experience what I experienced. My wedding wasn't the all so rich and glamorous wedding, but it was the kind of wedding I wanted. My wedding was filled with joy and laughter. I always said that I wanted a wedding that doesn't feel so serious. A wedding that everybody just kind of very happy and participating, filled with memories. And I got that kind of wedding. My wedding was something that I dreamt of. The kind of wedding that I always wanted. I had it. It was filled with joy and happiness, and everything went smoothly well. So while making this cake for this couple, kind of brings my mind back to all the wonderful experiences I had in my wedding. The joy, the laughter, the stress that wasn't so evident, but because it was the joy and laughter overshadowed all the stress that we went through. And I really pray and I hope their own wedding is as joyous as mine. Okay, so as you can see, the main thing is as working is with my palette knife. It's very important that you know how to handle your palette knife. This is what I do here, and when I instruct students, I always place emphasis on how to handle palette knives. See, now that I have successfully applied the buttercream all over the cake, one part of the job is done. The next thing that comes in is to smoothen this cake to give me that velvety look that I aim to achieve with the cake. To smoothen the cake, I'm going to start with this. This is my smoother. This transparent acrylic smoother. You can use the stainless smoother or the rubber smoother, whichever one works for you. So I start off from this place. This is how I work on cakes like this. Then when I get here, I'm going to just put out my hand and take out the excess buttercream. Then I continue here. Take out the excess buttercream. Go again. Stop. Move. Get here. Stop. Move. Stop here. Then move. Stop. Move. And while making this buns, if there's any place that has holes, just go ahead and fill them up with more buttercream. The aim is to have a super smooth cake in the end. My baby girl had her 6 weeks immunization yesterday. Yesterday was hellish. She cried all day. I can't believe that particular immunization is them giving a newborn 3 injections at once. She had 2 in one lap, and then she had the other one in one lap. It was so painful. I couldn't even look. While I was holding her for her to receive the immunization, I had to close my eyes. It's as if they just jabbed an injection in her. And I'm like, is there no easier way to do this? Like give them drops, like baby drops, make the vaccine into baby drops and just give it to them. Well, it didn't work that way. Anyway, we came back yesterday and she was crying all through the day. She was crying all through the day. I was not able to do much for myself yesterday. For the sharp edges, I can do this with this acrylic smoother. I can do it with my palette knife. I'm doing with acrylic smoother. This is how I go. Just from the edge of the cake, pull it inside. I'm going to scrape off this one. Let me show you a trick I use when I want to clean my board. This is a wipe. You can use a clean towel or a tissue paper, kitchen towel, or anything that works. Just put it inside the palette knife like this, and then use it to pull around the board edge of the cake. For the piping nozzle, I'm using a 1E nozzle. This is 1E. This is what I'm going to use for the top. Avoid ruining the letters. We're going to start from this edge because I want this place very fine and I want it to end here. Piping on the just going to add this tiny sprinkles on them because my client requested for white details on top of the piping. And I think we nailed it. If you like this video so far, please give the video a like. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know how well I did. Rate this cake from 10 to 0. What would you rate this cake? Let me know in the comment section. I'll see you in my next one. And before I go, I want to say I'm so grateful that my baby didn't wake up all this while. She allowed me to finish this cake. Very interrupting. Kudos to you, Ruby. So guys, I'll see you in my next one. Bye.